Hey, in today's lesson, I'm going to show you a device called the 5-minute blues bass hack, which will allow you to play in all of the most important keys that you'll find on a blues jam session. Hey, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and I'm just in the final stages of finishing off my brand new book, The Essential Guide to Blues Bass Guitar. And today I'm going to share a really important tip from that book. But first of all, before we hit the lesson content, I would love to know, who are your favorite blues bass players or blues artists? Make sure you let me know in the comments below. So there are two elements to the 5-minute blues bass hack, which I'll take apart one by one. The first element is two really important fingerboard shapes, which will allow you to easily memorize the blues pattern on the fingerboard. And the second is a device which will allow you to play in the 5 most important keys that you'll find on a blues jam session. So let's take apart the first one. So we're going to play the blues in the key of E to begin with, and we're going to use this track called Shuffle Joy, which is inspired by the incredible Stevie Ray Vaughan track Pride and Joy. So this is in the key of E, and the blues has 3 chords to it. So the 3 chords that you're going to find in this are chord 1, chord 4 and chord 5. And what this means in the key of E, this is going to be an E, an A and a B like this. So the most important thing is that you appreciate the shape which is created on the fingerboard. There is this little L shape, and that is absolutely fundamental. So let's play it. The E is at the 7th fret on the A string, the A is at the 7th fret on the D string, and the B is at the 9th fret on the D string too. And notice that shape. So let's go through the pattern now. So the blues sequence starts off with 4 bars of E, then it goes to 2 bars of A, and then back to 2 bars of E, and then 1 bar of B, 1 bar of A, 1 bar of E, and then a bar of B at the end. And that is our fundamental blues sequence. And what you'll notice is that falls with a very distinctive shape under the hand. So once you've got that first shape down, there is a secondary shape which I think of as a reverse L shape. So what we can do is we can play the E in exactly the same place at the 7th fret, but then we can catch the A at the 5th fret on the string below, and then we can catch the B at the 7th fret on the E string too. So we end up with this secondary shape there. So this is the first one, and this is the second shape. And get those 2 shapes down, you have the fundamental blues sequence under your hands. So what I want to do now is demonstrate playing this along with Shuffle Joy so you can see this in action. 1, 2. Now here's where things get interesting, because there are 5 keys that you'll tend to see time and time again on a blues jam session. And those keys are the key of E, A, D, G, and C. Now the reason for the first 4 keys is because these are strongly related to the open strings of the guitar, and playing the blues in these keys works really nicely. So you'll see the E there, the A there, and the D there, and the G there. So that makes sense. And now for the key of C, the reason you'll see this a lot is because this works really nicely with the white notes that you'll find on the piano too. So these are the keys that I recommend learning first of all. Now we've already covered the key of E and have our two fundamental shapes. So what I want to do now is take a track called Roll Over, which is from my book, which I'm going to be releasing shortly, and we're going to transpose this now into the key of G. And I want to show you the simplest way, I think, to start transposing. And for me, this is all about learning the names of the notes which appear at the dots. And this is the hack which will greatly speed things up. So on the E string, I recommend learning the note which is at the first dot, which is a G. And then the second dot, musical alphabet begins again, which is going to be an A. And then the third dot is going to be a B. And then the fourth dot here is going to be a C sharp. So we end up with this pattern of notes G, A, B, and then we've got the C sharp at the end. But just for now, pay particular attention to the notes G, A, and B, and this will make a ton of sense and start to open up the E string for you. Now, the other string I recommend learning the dots on is the A string. And so the notes you get there at the third fret, you get a C, you get a D, and an E like that. And of course, at the fourth fret, we get, or the fourth dot, we get the F sharp too. But just pay attention to the first three of those, the C, the D, and the E. So you might have noticed that the notes we've covered there, we can directly correlate to the 5 key signatures I discussed just a moment ago. So let me show you this in action. So what I want to do is take the blues sequence and play it in the key of G now. So very simple and very straightforward. We just need to find the G that we discussed, which is at the 3rd fret on the E string there. And then we can use the L shape, and that will show us exactly where the rest of our notes in the blues sequence are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this in action now using Roll Over. This has a slightly different chord sequence. It has a quick forward change in there, but fundamentally it's all the same 3 notes. I'm going to play it once just using the roots, and then I'm going to start breaking out a little bit after that. So we played the blues in the key of E, we played it in the key of G now, so let's play it in the key of C. But first off, if you're enjoying this lesson and want to receive more lessons just like this, designed especially for the beginner to intermediate bass player, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we release a lesson just like this every single week. There's a red button that's somewhere around this video. So our key note C, as we discussed earlier, we can find at the 3rd fret on the A string like that. And the great thing is we can use both the ascending L shape to catch the key notes, or we can use the reverse L shape. The choice is ours. So I'm going to show you how this works to the track Roll Over, but in the key of G. I'm going to start off this time using the lower shape, or the reverse shape rather, and then I'm going to start breaking out a little bit. Make sure you look out for the key notes that I'm going to be hitting at the beginning of every single bar. So to wrap up this lesson, let's transpose it into one more key and start having some real fun with this. So let's put this into the key of D. So as we discussed earlier, we can find the D at the second dot on the A string like so. So all of the notes will then fall directly under our hand. We can use the upper L shape like this, or we can use the reverse or lower L shape like this. So we have the blues sequence directly under our hand. So I'm going to play this with the backing track now. I want to leave you with one more challenge to see if you can figure out how to play this in the key of A. Anyway, I will catch you next week, and here's rollover in the key of D. So guys, that's the end of today's bass guitar lesson. If you've enjoyed this lesson, make sure you check out my brand new book, which will release any day now, The Essential Guide to Blues Bass for Bass Guitar Players. This will teach you all of the most important skills that you need to know if you want to play at a blues jam session, and teach you how to play fantastic bass lines by artists such as Eric Clapton, B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, all the way through to the modern guys like Joe Bonamassa and John Mayer. So to check out the Essential Guide for Blues Bass Guitar, make sure you click the link which is in the description below. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com, and I'll catch you next week.